Okay. So, are you tired of running in circles on the treadmill and not getting anywhere? You're just going and going, and you keep coming back to the same thing in your life, but you feel drawn to more, like you could do more, or you could have more, or you could be more, but you just don't know how to get to that next place. How about you, Debbie?
Oh, sometimes, but I know how to get to the next place now.
That's right. I know we're so lucky to have found each other and found this
Yeah.
amazing thing. If you're on here now, I want you to stay to the end though, because Debbie and I have a big surprise for you, and we're excited to share it with you. So,
Yay.
first thing I'm going to talk about tonight is how I ended out on this journey and why I chose this specific path for myself. So, I found Peter Sage and EMF, which is Elite Mentorship Forum, at a time in my life where my life was doing exactly that, coming full circle, and also some new things coming up from the past were coming back into my life. And I realized I was like, okay, enough is enough. I can't keep putting forth all this effort and all this energy into trying to create a life that I really, really love, because I was finding some success in some areas, feeling partially fulfilled, but always feeling like there has to be something more though. Like this can't be life. Like this, it can't be all give, 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 get a little bit, give, and give in such big ways and end out feeling so just kind of like all that work and this is where I got. So when I first ran into Peter Sage and I started listening to his ideals and his advice on how to change the way you experience life, I was immediately drawn to him because everything he was saying was resonating with me. Um, the biggest part, and I say this every time though, but for me, it really was relationships though, relationships um, with my family, relationships with friends or the lack thereof, um, and the relationship that I have with my children, which I would have to say is probably the strongest one that I have because the expectations are different. I'm the parent, they're my child, I love them, and they're good kids. But what I expect from them is not the same as from other people in my life. I expect my other relationships to be more give and take and support and uplift. And I wasn't finding that um, in my other relationships. Having gone through this EMF, this 6 month journey of really discovering what's making my world go around, like why am I why am I on this treadmill? Why am I always coming back to the same thing? And working with Peter opened my eyes to the beliefs that I had about the different relationships in my life. And I was able to see that I was having the wrong expectations for the relationships in my life. I was giving, but I wasn't expecting as much in return. I was trying to be, like be the one, right? I felt like I was being the one, and I'm pretty sure I was being the one, but I was being the one to the wrong people. And I forgot to expect not me in return, right? Like I can't expect me in return, but I can expect someone that's carrying the same values and the same um, commitment to the relationship and kind of the similar, I'm not sure if expectations is the right word, but that like I'm bringing everything to the table and they're bringing everything to the table. And together, it's not that I'm not requiring them to make me happy and I'm not required to make them happy,
Hmm.
even though some of the things we do obviously are going to make each other happy. But it's more of a seeking to be really happy with myself and then take that to relationship and finding somebody else that's also very happy with themselves and feeling confident in their choices and bringing that to the table. That's my big aha, my big change my life for me from this 6-month journey. Debbie, I'm sure you've had some similar, but go ahead and share, like, what was your big takeaway from going on this
Oh,
journey?
so for me, the one, and I talk about it a number of times, I've talked about it already. It was procrastination. I had procrastination coming from every direction, always. And that's something that plagued me my whole life. But what's really funny, Deb, is that I did not I wasn't looking for anything for personal transformation. I was okay with myself. You know what? I was actually launching a business. So I was still working my corporate job, and I had been slowly launching my business because I was still working a very demanding full time plus job. You know, when you're working 50, 60 hours a week, you don't have too much time for anything else. So I was kind of on my way, and my vision, my mission is to help 1 million or more people transition to a whole food, plant based lifestyle. And so, as I was going through this, I realized that, you know, a plant based lifestyle is actually very simple. You know, you just eat more plants, but yet it's not easy. And for some reason, people were having trouble with wrapping their head around the whole idea. We know what we ought to do, but doing it is a whole other thing. And I know that for myself. That's kind of where my procrastination comes in. But when I started researching on mindset. I think, okay, I got to go further than just eat more plants, because that is not going to stick. People need to change the way they think about it before they're going to be able to change their lifestyle. So they've got to make some changes. So I started researching, and I came across a couple of Peter's TED Talks, and I listened to them, and they blew me away. What he said was just like, wow. And I think what Peter does is he breaks things down into very simple models that anyone can understand and anyone can implement. And he talks in analogies that are really easy for anyone to understand. And so then this is where I said, wow, this Peter Sage guy is really good. And then I thought, well, but I don't know anything about him. I looked on his website. I didn't, like, wow. And then all of a sudden, of course, up pops a Instagram ad from Peter Sage talking about procrastination and doing his webinar. And so I went into the webinar, and then I ended up in his ultimate self mastery course. And then eventually, very quickly, actually, not eventually, I ended up in EMF. And not only that, I became signed up to be a trainer for Peter. All this, and I wasn't even looking for that. But you know what? I found out that I needed it. And I have had such a transformation. I am not the same person that I was at the beginning of 2023 when I started on this EMF journey with Peter. I am a totally different person. And the old saying, when the student is ready, the teacher appears. That is so what happened to me. It was, yeah, just one of those things. The universe put me in the right place to meet and be able to work with Peter Sage, and I am so grateful for that. It's been a great journey. But let's get moving to some other things, and maybe you could talk about one of the ahas. And one of the things, we're going to talk about 3 learnings that we had. Maybe you could talk about one of them for you.
Okay. All right. First of all, I want to say some of the things that you said really just so true. The actionable steps to take. And it's not necessarily in reaching a goal, but the actions to change that mindset for whatever we're trying to change. I do. I absolutely love that about all of Peter's teachings, and that just made a huge difference on this journey for me as well. So
Yeah.
love that you said that. Um, so one of the areas that we all kind of, I'll say all, I'm sure there's one or two of us out there who have no limits set on themselves, but for most of us, we have a tendency to set glass ceilings for ourselves. And most of the world, I think, thinks of a glass ceiling in terms of where they're going to go in their career. Like, what's the highest level of achievement I can reach in my career, right? The reality is, we set glass ceilings on ourselves, not just in our careers, but in our relationships and in our health and wellness as well. And we set that glass ceiling because somewhere along the line, we inadvertently, just kind of part of our growing and living life, decided the most I can ever achieve, or the most, we even sometimes say the most, if I could be this, then I'll know I've made it, right?
Hmm.
And I know for me, I was like, if I could make $100,000 a year, wow, that would be amazing. Like, I was like, that would be it. That would just be so exciting, right? And now I'm like, yeah, that's not gonna work. That's just not gonna be quite enough. And I know that sounds selfish, right? The other side of that too is though, um, what I realize is I can be happy with less than 100,000 also because of this journey we're on. So like it really has changed the abundance mindset, right? Becomes less about the finances and more about our experiences. So with that glass ceiling of experience, like, I'm going to be living my dream life when I make 100,000 a year, right? Okay, maybe I could learn to live my dream life now. And if I make the 100,000, great, right? But if I can live the experience as if I had the $100,000 a year now, excellent. Relationships. Who says I have to have a mediocre relationship where, you know, I'm giving more than I'm getting, or I feel like I'm giving more than I'm getting? Because again, it's in our mindset. What's making me feel like the other person cares? What's making me be like, oh, they love me so much and I love them? Like, what's creating those feelings? And when we change our mind around that to be like, I'm good, I'm good, I'm happy, I'm fulfilled, but I now get to spend some quality time with someone that I love and adore, that changes, right? They don't need to come to me in their best mood on their best day. They can show up as them. We can enjoy each other and have a great time. And whether that's leaning on each other for a little support, or whether that's going out dancing and having a great night, either way, I'm good. I'm not going to walk away from the evening or the day saying, can't believe they acted like that. How disrespectful. They don't care, right? I don't have that. It just doesn't exist. So, and then our health, which, Debbie, you touched on a little bit about that. Like, um, we don't have to have a glass ceiling on our health. Like, I'm never going to be a runner. I'm never going to be a swimmer. I'm never going to be an athlete. I mean, I might try to stay in shape, but I'm definitely not an athlete. Okay, why am I discounting myself as an athlete? I just shook myself off the board, right? And
Hmm.
you don't have to strive maybe for um to have the athlete label. Like, yeah, I'm not saying we're all going to go out and try to be NBA players either, although why not? But that's not the point. The point is can stop limiting our expectations for ourselves. So stop setting that glass ceiling, bust that thing loose, and it all starts with your mindset around your money and your abundance that you have, your relationships and what do they mean, and what is a healthy relationship, what's a fulfilling relationship, and then with our health, what do I need to be functioning at my best every day? It might be a little different for me than it is for you, but that was so all of that. I was going to say that was a really big lesson, but there's more than one lesson there.
So many.
When it all comes together, though, it really changes your perspective on your daily life experience. And then I'm hoping in the way that I show up for other people as well. And I've had some people say like, wow, you seem a lot different. So I'm going to assume it's working. And that makes me really happy. Not in a, hey, look how amazing I am. That's it's not about that. It's just I feel better and people around me are like, wow, this feels nice to hang out. And that makes me happy because now I know that sharing some of the joy that I'm finding. So that is one. And I know, Debbie, you wanted to talk about procrastination. Again, she's big on this. And listen, procrastination was huge for me, and I still struggle once in a while. So go ahead,
Well,
Deb, share
okay,
your
I can't
thoughts.
say that I'm perfect, but I haven't eliminated procrastination. But remember, we're on a journey. This is not about, being in one place. And for sure, we took Peter's uh, EMF course. It's 6 months to do it, but it's a lifelong thing. It's not about 6 months and you're done. There is no way. It continues on and on and on. And we're on this journey together along with a lot of other of our EMF friends, right?
Yes.
So I am so good at getting in my own way. Oh my gosh, I've been doing it my whole life. And but uh, I knew what I've always known what I needed to do, but then it was getting it done. And so I want to talk a little bit about my business, because here I am, mentioned I've got a couple years starting my business while I was still working my corporate job. And so what I found is, I had stuff that I needed to do, like put a video together, put something together, get something out to my list, get something out to people. And I could find a lot of other things to do, like watch TV, work. I was doing all this stuff that was in my corporate job and not taking time. And I should have been, I knew this. My number one priority should be my business and not my work. But you know what I found? It was easy to do all of this stuff. So I was picking the easy things. So I could, walk through my job blindfolded. I know what I'm doing. I'm an expert in the area that I was in. People relied on me for information. And so it was easy to do that. But my new work, my new business was hard because it's all new stuff. And so what I realized is that for me, it was the reason, and there's many reasons why people procrastinate. There's not just one reason, but the main one for me is the fear of failure. I was afraid to fail. And so, this is something that has been with me since I was a kid. I have lots of stories I could share about how I was so afraid to say something because I was afraid it was wrong, even though I actually knew what I was talking about. But the main thing is to understand why why are you procrastinating, and then what would happen if I did this? What's the worst that could happen? Right. And so, one of the things for me, I'm going to tell you what my breakthrough was. We did this 4 steps to mastery. And so, in that, there's this one's hard, but unconscious incompetence, where you don't know what you don't know. Then you move to conscious incompetence, where you've got a lot to learn, which is where I am. Then you move to conscious competence, and then unconscious competence, which is where I am, where I was in my corporate job. I could do it pretty much blindfolded. And Peter gave this great analogy of a field of snow, which is great for somebody who lives in Canada. And if you think of the first step, where you don't know what you don't know, as being a field that has no footsteps in it, it's a pristine field of snow. And as you start learning, you start making footsteps in the snow, and those footsteps are going to be a little bit all over because you don't know what you're doing. You're kind of making a little bit of mistakes, weaving and bobbing. But as you get more experience, you start walking and you start developing a path. and it gets easier and you're on the path. And when you are in unconscious competence, you're walking that path blindfolded. And once I realized that it doesn't matter, I need to go through the step of failure and doing that unconscious incompetence and putting those footsteps in the snow, that really gave me the catalyst to actually do it and move forward and actually, do some of those things. So that was my breakthrough. And it was really about Peter simplifying the models and also giving this analogies like the field of snow that are really easy to understand. And so I'm making fresh footprints in the snow, doing things like videos and sending stuff out. And I have a whole different appreciation for them now compared to what I did at when I started. So that's kind of that part. So Deb, I'm going to send it back to you. I love talking about procrastination. That's my specialty, but I'll send it back to you because we got to talk a bit about peer group, and I'll let you handle that one.
Okay. I love that you pointed out too that just because we're finished with our 6 month um, journey for our own growth, and then we both, of course, decided to become trainers for different reasons, but similar. Like feeling like I know I needed this, and it changed my life, and I wanted to be able to share that with other people. But that point that like it's not like, oh, I finished my 6 month journey and now I've got life 100% figured out. No, we're not perfect. We still slip up every now and then. Love the snow analogy of starting the path and you're like, okay, there it is. And then eventually it's just downtrodden, which means that making the right choices for ourselves and taking on those habits that make our lives more enjoyable, just it becomes that it's habitual now, and we're not even aware that we're doing it. um and I think that's what's happened on this journey too, where people are like, oh, you're doing this, and I'm like, oh, I don't really think about it anymore. But I guess you're right, I am showing up with a different attitude, especially when things go wrong. So, and the
Yeah.
procrastination, it really is. Now I catch myself and it makes me laugh because I'm like, "Ugh, why am I in this junk drawer? Just leave it alone and go do the thing you're supposed to do." So love that. Love it. Love it.
Why am I on my social media scrolling through,
Just
right?
because those cats are so freaking cute. Oh, so funny. All right. This third part, as Debbie said, is talking about peer groups. And this was it was pretty big. I'd like to think that I hang out with some quality people, and I know that I do. I know they have big hearts, and I have some great friends. And it took me really till this year to even realize that I have more friends than I thought. I never really called on anyone to help me do anything. And now I know that I could. I do have people I could reach out to and be like, hey, I'm in a bind or whatever, right? And I have friends. The peer group, though, that what we want to do with our peer group, and it goes kind of along with raising our standards, like busting that glass ceiling, right? I don't have to set a limit on my relationships, my wealth, my health, any of those. I could just go, right? And just continue to get better. As you said, it's a continuous journey and we keep getting better and better. The peer group part, though, is where um, you can have people who have really good hearts, right? And they think in their mind, they're doing the best they can, right? But they might have a glass ceiling set for themselves and they haven't quite opened their mind yet to the endless possibilities. So they become our naysayers in our life where they're like, you're doing what? You're never going to do that. That's never happening for you. And you're like, and before you might be like, yeah, you're probably right. I'm not going to do that thing. You're right. I can't. And now, you can be like, hey, thanks for your advice and I appreciate your concern, but I'm going to try it and see what happens, right? And what the Elite Mentorship Forum does is surrounds us. We are surrounded. Debbie and I are surrounded by other people who are saying, "Hey, wait a second. I think there's a little bit more to this life too. And I'd like to do this." And so we are surrounded and we continue to surround ourselves and be for each other a champion. So we're not naysayers. We're like, "Yeah, that does sound hard. Can't wait to see how you get through that. Can't wait to see how you get to that next level or, you know, in whichever area that we're working on." And that just makes a huge difference. An analogy, and I'm sure people have heard this before too, though, we say like um, that your five closest friends reflect where you're at in your life and where you're going. So if you hang out with millionaires, five of your new friends are millionaires, guess who the sixth one's going to be? You. If you hang out with people who consider themselves athletes and you spend quality time with them and a lot of time hanging out with them and having conversations, guess who the next athlete is going to be? You. So it's all about who you're surrounding yourself with. Who you hang out with the most is who you are and who you become. So if you
Mhm.
want to increase your glass ceiling in any area of your life, you have to first start by hanging out with people who have either already achieved what you want or who are also working towards it. And that's something we've learned here. And I know as part of this EMF group, I have a plethora of friends that I can reach out to and be like, "Hey, I just hit this roadblock and I'm not really sure what to do. I don't want it to stop me. Did you have a similar experience?" And somebody's going to come back and be like, "Oh, yeah, yeah, I dealt with that. And here's some things that I did." Right.
Mhm.
Bottom line, though, we're always championing each other to just keep going and don't give up. And, all very good positive vibes from everyone in the group. And we become that for them as well. So, yeah, I think that's pretty much, I don't know what else you could say about peer groups. You are who
I
you hang out with.
That's right. And I got to say, we have some amazing friends all over the world.
All over the world.
We've got friends in Australia, in the UK. We're in North America, but we also, Finland, all over the place. And I can hardly wait to travel. And I said, when I go to visit my girls who live in London, England, I said, well, I have other friends to visit, because I got to visit my EMF friends, and it's opened up such a world to have like-minded people that we are hanging out with. Now we hang out on Zoom with them, but it's great to have like-minded people that you can reach out to, as you said. I love that.
Yeah.
Very good.
And
So, are you
I
ready
never
for
would have
the big
planned.
announcement?
Go ahead. Go with the big. Is
Sure.
everybody out there ready? I'm ready.
Are you
So,
ready? We have our exciting announcement. So, Deb and I are really thrilled to announce that we are going to do our inaugural EMF group starting the first week of April. We're going to take on our first group. So, if you are out there, this is potentially your ticket to being part of the community that we are talking about. And it's all about personal growth, accountability, and really reaching new levels of success and fulfillment. I mean, I think hopefully we've already said that, but why join us? Number one, you can be part of this select group of people and be part of this transformation personal level. And it's all about this like-minded community, as we've already mentioned in the peer group. You can experience the Elite Mentorship Forum, which is the gold standard of personal transformation programs. It is designed to propel you forward. And Peter would say that knowledge mastery will never change who you are, but self mastery always changes who you are. And Peter is all about self mastery. What he says about knowledge is there is knowledge all over, but knowledge without action is like not having the knowledge at all. So let's go on a journey of self mastery, not about knowledge mastery. And finally, for we have a special enrollment pricing as part of our first group, and you can be part of our founding members, which is a unique opportunity to access this transformative program at a super exclusive price. So we are inviting a small group of people to join us on this journey. And we're hoping that if any of this resonated with you and you are ready for a transformation, this is where, as I said, when the student is ready, the teacher appears. If you are ready, that teacher is here for you now. And so don't miss out on the ability to do this and to have this exclusive rate and make 2024 a year of transformation for you, just like we made 2023 a year of transformation for us. Now, what do you need to do? You need to get in touch with either Deb or myself, Deb or Deb, and if you have any questions or you're interested, and we can talk to you about whether or not you qualify to be part of this group. We're really excited about this opportunity. And like I said, send us a DM or get in touch with us so we can talk to you about being part of this great transformation journey.
Well said. Come on, guys. Now's your time. Get off the treadmill. Stop running in circles.
2024. It's early. You got lots of time. All right. I think that's it. That's all we wanted to say. I think we had a lot to say. Hopefully, you can tell that we are really proud of being part of Peter Sage's program and being part of his peer group. And you have the opportunity to be part of it too. So get in touch with us. And otherwise, have a wonderful evening. Bye for now.
Great night, guys.